First impressions here are seductive, almost too good. The air feels cleaner. The pace immediately slows from Koh Samui. And just like that, you begin to wonder, could I stay here? Could I live here? It's a common thought, and an even more common dream. After all, Koh Phangan sells it well. The perfect work from paradise setup. Ocean view cafes with fast Wi-Fi and cold brew. Yoga studios promising transformation. Beachfront bungalows at much lower rent than where I'm from. Kind of Eden for freelancers, spiritual seekers, crypto dreamers, and the quietly burned out. People arrive expecting to find peace, simplicity, community, or maybe just something new. But there's something strange that happens when you come to a place like Koh Phangan. Before you even understand it, before you meet anyone, before you know what it is, you start recognizing the costumes. Everywhere, this strange dissonance between how people present and how they actually behave. Or at least their body language. The costumes say Zen, but the energy says something else. And I don't say this to be cruel or judgmental. I say it because it was disorienting and oddly familiar. I walked into the Saturday night street market in Thon Salah. At first glance, it looked like the kind of scene you come to the island like this to enjoy. String lights overhead, sizzling food stands, handmade jewelry, incense burning. Then I stepped into the funnel, where the chaos pretends to be flow. Market's layout is tight, vendors on both sides, just enough room down the aisle for two single-file streams of pedestrian traffic. And it works if everyone follows the choreography of design. Keep moving and stay in your lane. But of course, that's not what happens. What actually happens is people stop to take a photo, to smell a candle, to examine a beaded bracelet that says something vaguely spiritual, to order food. One person stops and the whole lane collapses. Then someone else cuts across. Then the people squeeze the gaps. And before long, the vibe has gone from peaceful bohemian market to passive-aggressive foot race with mango smoothies. And here's the part that stuck with me. So many of the people causing the logjam, the friction, the collapse of the whole thing, they look like they had just come from a yoga class. Everything about their dress, their aesthetic, screamed harmony, mindfulness, community, but the behavior, total disregard. Cutting people off, acting entitled, walking like they owned the street. Zero awareness of anyone around them. And something about that just cracked open the whole illusion for me, because suddenly I saw it everywhere. The signs promising enlightenment, the smoothie bowls, the retreats with names like The Awakening or The Rebirth, the Instagram-friendly aesthetics, the I found myself in Thailand tattoos, and yet people wearing all the same costumes or driving scooters like they're playing Mario Kart, swerving the blind corners, no helmets, no rules, aggression on the roads, horns honking, and Western gestures of, what's your deal, man? I caught up with one of these foreigners 5 minutes after their little road rage incident at a sunset lookout, only to overhear him on the phone with someone somewhere professing, this place is hard to beat, man. It's such a peaceful village where we all know each other. Maybe that's the moment I knew I was seeing it through American eyes. Because in American culture, we are arguably the best in the world at the game of charades. Not the party game of charades, the real one. The performance of identity, of self, of belonging. We don't just do cowboy, we dress cowboy. We don't just listen to hip-hop, we wear hip-hop. We assign outfits to our ideologies, dress codes for our subcultures, symbols of our stations and of our aspirations. You can tell who someone thinks they are by what they wear, and they want you to. Each tribe speaks its own dialect, its own language of belonging, not just in words, but in clothes, gestures, body language, posture, playlists, vocabulary, tattoos. And wrapped around that language is a thin, sticky layer of marketing. Not necessarily the corporate kind, something sneakier, subtle, performed, a kind of tribal branding, signaling to the world, we know something you don't. It's not overt evangelism. It's more like a vibe. One part invitation, one part superiority. Come closer, they seem to say. We've cracked the code. We've healed the wounds. We have found the practices. We've transcended the trap you're still in. And maybe that's true for some, in moments. Maybe that's why, when I arrived on Koh Phangan, it felt oddly familiar. Because everyone looked like something. You didn't need to ask. You could see it. If I say Koh Phangan is a hippie island, instantly your mind conjures the image. Loose, earth-tone linen pants, macrame tops, dreadlocks, mala beads, incense in the air, maybe a didgeridoo. Someone's walking barefoot with purpose. And none of that's wrong, but barefoot in the streets is a unique statement piece of its own. It's all here, in abundance. But that image, true as it is, barely touches the complexity of the island. Because what's weird about Koh Phangan is not that people are searching for peace, healing, or spiritual awakening. What's weird is that the whole aesthetic of that search has been commodified, exported, and then re-imported like a lifestyle brand. Everywhere you go, there's a sign. A cafe named The Source, the Buddha Bowl, a resort called Eden, Utopia, Sanctuary. The island is ringed with names that sound like salvation and price tags to match. Everything glows with that Instagram-ready veneer. Vegan cafes with jungle views, detox spas, cannabis lounges, digital nomad co-working retreats with eco-villas and raw chocolate tastings. Even pickleball courts with Zen references. And that's all fine, truly. I'm not here to dunk on yoga or healing or cacao ceremonies. Some of it's beautiful, some of it works, but the sheer density of it, every kilometer, every signpost, every beachfront banner, makes you feel like you're inside a live-action Pinterest board called Spiritual Lifestyle Goals. And here's the uncomfortable part. It's not cheap. Not to build, not to rent, not to stay. This isn't a community carved out by the poor or the displaced or the disenfranchised. It's curated and consumed mostly by a very specific kind of outsider. And while they come from all over the world, there's a quiet homogeneity to it. Not of nationality, but of privilege. Maybe that's why it started to drive me a little crazy. Because for all the talk of living slow, the stress is palpable. For all the signs about compassion and awakening, the undertone is ego. And for all the spiritual theater, there's a very real, visible inequality playing out just beneath it. It's not that I don't think Koh Phangan can be beautiful, or healing, or even profound. I just think it's dishonest to pretend that that's the whole story. Because what I felt wasn't just confusion, it was cognitive dissonance. A gnawing sense that this paradise comes with a price. And not just the inflated cost of a beachfront bungalow, a deeper price. The price of pretense. It all felt like too much of something I've already seen. Layer cake of contradictions, performative culture, and borrowed dreams. Koh Phangan might be heaven on earth for some, and I don't begrudge anyone who finds peace here. But for me, it triggered the very thing I was trying to get away from. A world that looks serene, but underneath is fighting for space. Because in practice, Koh Phangan is not a melting pot. It's a luxury buffet, where the offerings are spiritual more than culinary, but the access is gated by time, money, and the freedom of movement. The average Thai citizen does not participate in this culture. They serve it. And that, more than anything, is the contradiction that scratches at your conscience, or at least my conscience, after not too long. Because yes, this is still Thailand. You can eat at the night market. You can buy fruit from the back of a truck. You can meet kind locals who will help you when your scooter breaks down. But just a few steps beyond that mango shake stand is a villa priced for Western affluence. Just past the banana pancake guy is a retreat charging thousands for a 10-day soul cleanse. Tucked into the hills, in the quiet behind the glamour, are the Thai workers who staff those resorts. And they don't get to eat at the vegan cafe. They don't swim in the infinity pool. They live near the jungle's edge or down the quiet alleys in homes tourists will never see. They walk the same roads, but in a different world. It's hard to talk about this island honestly without sounding like such a critic. And it's hard to talk about it as an American without seeing the reflection of home. Because this layering of aspiration, performance, and inequality, this is American culture. Just tropical. We package it, export it, and then it's imported to places that never ask for it. We perform lifestyle as identity. We sell healing as a product, and we do it all with a smile and a hashtag. Koh Phangan's contradictions aren't unique. They're just condensed, more obvious, easier to spot in the bright sun and the slow pace. And then, just when you think you've wrapped your head around it, you learn more about the parties. Yes, the famous full moon party still happens, but it's no longer just once a month. There's a schedule now. Jungle party, half moon party, waterfall party, after party. And no Thai people attend. It's all foreigners. And the locals clean up the mess for days afterward. That's the other side of the island. The one sold in YouTube thumbnails and travel vlogs. Not spirituality, but raw escapism. Not healing, but hedonism. And somehow, Koh Phangan makes space for both. I'm not saying you shouldn't come here. There's an entire economy built on these things. At first, you laugh, and then you judge, and you start to see it for what it is. A living, breathing marketplace of identity and new beginnings. Sure, there are cliches, but there's also real longing underneath. Most people here aren't chasing a beach life. They're trying to heal something, or outgrow something, or just stop something. There's no way to be here for long and not feel the absurdity. To swim in clear blue water with a turmeric latte in your hand, and then pass a local home with no running water. To spend $15 on a vegan burrito while the guy who serves it lives off of $5 a day. And yet, somehow, it still works. People do heal here. Friendships form. Ideas are born and businesses launch. Some people find what they were looking for. Others find something else entirely. This is where it gets complex. You will find community here. Digital nomads, spiritual seekers, crypto bros, wellness warriors, semi-retired expats. They gather in clusters. But the question becomes, are these real communities, or are they just curated cliques in paradise drag? And how much do they overlap with the people who were here first, the Thai locals? I'm not here to tell you what Koh Phangan is. That would be arrogant. It isn't just one thing. It shifts depending on where you're standing and what you're willing to see. But I am here to admit it confuses me and it aggravates me. Maybe that's why I keep looking at it. Because in trying to understand this island, I find myself confronting something deeper. Not just about this place, but about the stories we tell ourselves when we say we're searching for peace. The East teaches humility, but sometimes at the cost of the self. The West teaches self-worth, but sometimes at the cost of others. And on this island, they're trying to share the same stage, and it's messy. But when I walk around Koh Phangan, what I feel is not just the clash of East and West. I feel the friction burn. It's one thing to visit a place like this as a traveler. It's another thing entirely to imagine living here, to feel that imbalance every day, to wrestle with the privilege that makes your version of freedom possible, while the people around you play an entirely different game with different stakes. I walk through Koh Phangan and I see people trying to heal, but healing doesn't always look like harmony. Sometimes it looks like denial, sometimes it looks like appropriation, sometimes it just looks like noise. And I don't say that from a place of moral superiority. I say that as someone who's still trying to reconcile my own programming. I was raised to believe that a really important question in life is, who or what do you want to be? And now I find myself in a place that whispers a different question. Can you let go of needing to be anything at all? Maybe that's the real reason places like this drive me nuts, because they shine a light on the contradictions I carry inside, and there's no costume that hides that. So fast forward to my final days on the island. The mood is changing. Not just mine, the island's too. The tide is shifting. Not out to sea, but in the streets. And it's bringing something new in with it. The full moon party is almost here, and you can feel it everywhere. Traffic is thicker, motorbikes are faster, people are louder, the beach is filling up, Not with dreamers or seekers or barefoot philosophers with guitar backpacks, but with a whole different crowd. They've arrived in packs. The girls wear glitter like armor, with their shiny eyelids, tight black crop tops, dresses that flirt with the wind. Some of the guys are shirtless. Most of the guys are shirtless, or nearly so. They're tanned, toned, and somehow all sharing the exact same haircut and summer outfit. All of them. They don't walk so much as swagger. There's a confidence to it, even if it's mostly borrowed. You hear bottles clinking, laughs a little too loud, engines revving at redline, no helmets in sight. And then you see the aftermath. The tourist limping, arm in a sling, dressings over a road rash from thigh to ankle, another gauze taped across a drunken mystery wound. But even all that fuels the local economy. Now, I thought I was invisible before, but now I'm sure of it. The locals don't see me. They look through me, not unkindly, just efficiently. They've seen me 1,000 times. Not me exactly, but some version of me. Some foreigner passing through. And now I'm just one of them. The temporary ones. The ones who come and go. The ones who came for the beaches and maybe stayed for a waterfall or a zip line, and then leave before the absurdity can take its toll. We don't register. Not really. And I can't blame them. You start to realize how transactional everything becomes in a place like this. Not in a cynical way, but in a survival kind of way. The island doesn't need to know your name. It just needs to know what you're here for. Yoga, schedules on the chalkboard. Detox, here's your juice. Party, follow the baseline. Sunset, walk west and head toward the influencers. It's efficient, even beautiful, but it's not intimate. And standing here in the middle of this swirling party machine, gearing up for its next climax, I feel oddly alone, disoriented, like I've stayed too long at a party I wasn't invited to. Maybe that's the island's final lesson. Not everything is meant to hold you. Some places are meant to move you, change you, and then let you go. Koh Phangan never promised permanence. It doesn't ask you to stay. It just asks you to show up for the moment and then step aside for the next wave. And they're coming, thousands of them. Because the island doesn't care how tired I am. It just keeps going, keeps dancing, keeps calling. And I don't want to answer. I just want off this island. Sometimes that's the most honest thing you can say about a place. It was exactly what I needed until it wasn't. Koh Phangan won't hand you the dream. It will hold up a mirror. And what you do with that is up to you. And now, with the full moon rising and the volume turning up, it's time to go. Not because I hate it, not because I regret it, but because the spell never took me over. And once that realization happens, the only real move left is to leave with some grace. And I'll see you in the next one.